It's almost laughable. I tested it. I tested the video just before we started it. And of course, then it's acting up. Here we go. Let's try that again.
What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I am Love Coach Scott Thomas, and I am honored to be hosting the show. And you know, about every month or two, we do an edition on authors that we love. And really, we choose people that we have tremendous love and respect for. And tonight's one of those shows. And I'm really excited about the people that are with us tonight. We have a dynamic conversation, because joining us are our friends Gail and Gregory Hogue. And you remember them. They were on back in the Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe Days. And they're back. And so we're going to learn about sacred geometry tonight. They are probably regarded as the world's foremost authorities on sacred geometry. So we're really excited about that. And we also have our good friend Sheila Seppi. And of course, you know Sheila, she's been on the show a few times. She runs the Conscious Awakening Network, but she is also an author, and she has collaborated with our good friend, Barbara Lamb, on a new book. It's right overlooking Sheila's shoulder there on cosmic convergence. Barbara is someone that I've known for a very long time. We were just talking about how we go way back into the early 90s doing television shows together. So it's going to be a dynamic show. We're going to have great conversation, a lot of Q&A. But as always, we like to start our shows with Omar Shar. And he's got 3 songs for us tonight. It's a 3-song night. And it looks like he's still pulling it together.
No,
welcome, brother.
I'm not pulling it together. I'm here, brother.
Oh, okay, good.
And welcome, everybody. And welcome, everybody who's watching on our streaming partners and Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm excited for tonight's show too. And this opening song is called The One I Am, because many faces, only one being here. We know that one, don't we? What I am has always been here, whispering songs of life and love. Calm with knowing our day draws nearer, calm with joy and endless love. Sacred dancing breathes our heart song, and silent yearning keeps alive. A union blessed before beginning, and preordained beyond all time. Each step I take is one step closer to you, a joyous stride into the new. Each breath I breathe takes me inside your heart. Now I remember how to feel, and I remember how to fly. When I am fly, I am that I am, open to our sacred merger, shedding tears of divine bliss. Every movement tells a story, and nothing could compare with this. And here in fullest understanding, breathing light through every word, our lives become so undemanding, and finally seen finally heard. Each step I take is one step closer to you, joyous stride into the new. Each breath I breathe takes me inside your heart. Now I remember how to feel, and I remember how to fly. The one I am, what I am, I am that I am, the one I am, I am that I am.
Let's all give a good twinkle to our beloved brother Omar Shar.
And beautiful Jerry, I love your awesome colors behind you, man. Sorry, fall colors. We're in the States here. Look at that.
That is, yeah, it's a new backdrop for Jerry. That's a good. Where is that, Jerry?
That's the tree today in my backyard.
Wow, that is pretty gorgeous. Good call pointing that out there. I want to remind everybody, where's Omar Shar? Let me bring him back up here for a second.
He's right here.
There he is. Hey, everybody, we can find all things Omar Shar at his website. It's omarshar.com. And that's where you can scroll down. And we always want to go to Bandcamp. Bandcamp is the place to buy his albums. He's got 5 wonderful children that are available for us.
Actually,
And
that's quite true. Sorry.
yeah, no, it's true. They're like your children, aren't they?
Well, they are, but as a musician, it's one in every port, right?
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Omashar. And he'll be
Thank you.
back throughout the evening, which is certainly a great blessing. All right, we're going to go right into some cosmic convergence. And it's kind of cool because I knew Barbara and Sheila separately. I've known Barbara for, gosh, almost 40 years. Um, we were kids back then, Barbara.
Right. It's
Yeah.
beginners.
And then, of course, Sheila carries our shows on the Conscious Awakening Network. And then, to my great surprise, Ariel Patricia, who we all love, she does the Sacred Stories Publishing, let me know that the two of you had written this book together. So I'm going to turn it right over to you. Please tell us about Cosmic Convergence.
Right. Well, I'll let Sheila start because
Oh, okay.
she
Okay.
is the
Well,
one she initiated this wonderful project.
thanks, Barbara. Yeah, I'm really excited about this book because, I had the first book, Walk-In's Cosmology of the Soul, but there was so much in there that I did not get a chance to talk about. And being a walk-in myself, when I came in, I brought all kinds of information in that's taken me a long time to unpack. And so I put a lot of that in this book, which, I think Barbara and I kind of feel like it's a profound message for like spiritual evolution, and it's a transformative role for walk-in starseeds and hybrids because they play a huge role in humanity's ascension process right now. And the book emphasizes how these individuals come in and they actually are here, me being one of them, to help Earth and to facilitate the collective spiritual awakening. They align humanity with their higher frequencies and with higher timelines. And, if I could say there's just like this one main takeaway, it's that it helps people hear about and understand that there is so much more out there than we've been told, that we are multi-dimensional beings, and it focuses on that cosmic consciousness. And then, of course, with Barbara, I've been dying to do something with Barbara. She wrote the foreword for my first book, and we've stayed in contact all these years, and it's been absolutely wonderful to develop a relationship, and it's really an honor to be able to write this with her. So I asked her if she could help and provide some hypnosis sessions that maybe she has done about personal experiences that people have had with their soul missions and their higher dimensional realities, and especially about the hybridization program. And she just brings such a plethora of information to the book. It was, it's just been an honor, and so we're super, super excited about it.
Yes. Well, thank you, Sheila. And I would like to say, too, that I have been thrilled to work with Sheila because starting in 1991, having already been a psychotherapist for a number of years and a past life regression therapist, but in 1991, I started regressing people who had had encounters with extraterrestrial and other dimensional beings. So that work went on for many years until I met Sheila, but I had already been aware of the walk-in phenomenon and had worked with about 6 different people who themselves were walk-ins. So I was very, very interested in that phenomenon about other people from elsewhere in the universe coming to us and living here with us as humans, and in some cases being hybrids. I did a whole book with Miguel Mendonça on ET human hybrids, and they are the hybrids who are living here among us on Earth and doing wonderful service and consciousness raising. So I had been already working with walk-ins and hybrids. And then many of the people who came to me for regressions turn out to be starseed people. And that is that they would come to me for regressions because they wanted to know really clearly and definitively what their mission was here on Earth. And more people I found in the last few years were wondering about that, even more than people who were wondering about their extraterrestrial encounters. And some of them were interested in both of those subjects because they'd been having all those experiences, and they too were actually starseeds. So Sheila and I met a few years ago, and I realized that she was a walk-in, did a couple of regressions with her to bring out more detail. And every contact that I've had with her has been absolutely wonderful. So this is very lovely, blessed, I feel, that we have collaborated to bring together and bring out to the public this information about these other wonderful beings who are here with us. And it expands people's awareness of reality. I still talk to people who, kind of regular people in my life, and who just feel that reality is confined to the 3D physical dimension, and that that's all there is, and that is all that we are. But Sheila and I know that there is so much more to reality and so much more to each one of us. Some people care a whole lot about that. Some people just sort of don't want to give attention to that because they're very involved in their 3D physical lives. And I can understand that. But Sheila and I are people who expand way, 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 way beyond that and would like to share what we know about that with anybody who is interested.
If you could, for some people who aren't familiar, if you could briefly kind of go back a step and define what's a walk-in and what's a starseed and what's a hybrid. Like, if you can just define those three for us, please.
Okay, Sheila, how about you defining walk-in since you are one?
Okay, well, there are many types of walk-ins, but the type of walk-in that I am is a soul exchange walk-in. So the body that I was in was very, very, very sick. I had been diagnosed with bone cancer, brain tumors, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue. I walked with a cane. I was literally on death's door. And what happened to me was a phenomenal event. I'm not going to go all into it, but for me, what happened is the soul of this body, the original soul, the natal soul of the body left and a new soul came in. So you could look at it as maybe a reincarnation. And I did not have to go through the birth process because I needed an adult form. But there's many, many types of walk-ins that we could talk about, later. And then with star seeds, those are individuals who literally are coming from another planet. Their souls have arrived here, and at some point in their lifetime, they wake up and remember who they are and where they're from. Now, a lot of times people will wake up and they have all kinds of memories, but you have to remember, we're eternal beings, folks. We have a lot of experience. I always say we're not just sitting around up there drinking cappuccino. We're having all kinds of experiences on a variety of planets, various dimensions, in other realms. And some people come in and wake up with the memories of where it is that they have been. And the important thing is they're helping to anchor that energy then onto the planet. And Barbara, do you want to talk about hybrids?
Sure. And I would just also like to say about the star seeds that very often a person doesn't realize that he or she is a star seed until maybe in their 40s or 50s. And they begin to be aware of it. When they find that again and again they're asking themselves, why am I really here? What is my purpose? And having a feeling that there's something that they're supposed to be doing, a particular kind of service that they're supposed to be giving to the world. And that's why they come to me to find the details. Not that I know, because I don't know that for them, but I help them through the process of regression to find out why they're here, where they came from, the kinds of beings, cosmic beings that they used to be in previous incarnations. And they go out of here thinking, oh, that is so good. Now I really know what to concentrate on. Okay, now I'll talk about the hybrids. There basically are two types of hybrids. One type is the type of hybrid that never does come to Earth to live, and they live on the ship with the other beings, or they live on a different planet with the other beings. So that's one type, and they have a much larger percentage of extraterrestrial genetics than of human genetics, but they do have some human genetics as well. So the kind of hybrids that I have really come to know very well and feel very privileged to know are the kind of hybrids who were born here on Earth. So in other words, they have some genetics given by the other beings, and mostly they have human genetics. So they are formed as a hybrid in two distinctly different ways. One way is that eggs are taken from the human woman combined with sperm taken from a human man, and that is mixed on the ship by the extraterrestrial beings with some of their genetics. And then that little mixture, we can call it an embryo, is placed in the human woman here on Earth. And she gestates that embryo for a couple of months. So if it is one of the hybrids that has much more extraterrestrial genetics than human, they will remove that embryo after a couple of months from the mother's womb, and they will gestate it in a special tank with special fluid in it on the ship, and it will be born, that is, taken out of the ship and raised there with the other beings for the rest of its life. But then the other kind that I am even more familiar with is a kind where they will do that same process, creating the embryo with some ET genetics and put that in the mother's womb. Or the woman might already be pregnant from her human husband, and then along about 7 months or so into the pregnancy, the beings will take the woman and inject her with some of their genetics. So it goes in like a syringe needle right through her abdomen, through the wall of the uterus, and into the fetus. And then that fetus continues to develop until ready for birth. And they are born in the same way that all of us are. So right from the very beginning, they have their life here on Earth as a human. And they have the extraterrestrial genetics to some extent too. But they live their whole lives with everybody assuming that they are perfectly human, except that they do have, right from the very beginning of their lives, they have a lot of special abilities that most of us humans don't have. They have the whole range of psychic abilities and the ability to heal other people animals, plants, whatever. And they always feel that they are different. They don't look different from other humans, but they always feel different from any of the humans with whom they know. And they always feel that their home, their real home, is somewhere out in space. And they very often will be found looking up at the sky, looking up at the stars, and even talking to space and asking to please be taken back home. Please, I miss you. I miss my real, true family. So anyway, these hybrids grow up and go through school and so forth, like the rest of us. And then by the time that they're adults, they really get into doing various services here on Earth, all designed to raise the consciousness of humanity. So they do the whole range of psychic sessions, psychic skills, and they give talks and they give webinars and they give conference talks and they bring together groups of people, and they're serving in many, many ways, again, to try to raise the consciousness of humanity and to help humanity to know about the enormous array of other beings who live out there in space physically, and other beings, so many of them, that live in other dimensions. So they have a lot of visits with their extraterrestrial beings who gave them their genetics. And it's really a wonderful collaboration between these very benevolent space beings who would like to see lots of improvements happening here within humanity and with the Earth itself. And they cannot be here. They would not be able to withstand our viruses and even our density. So instead of coming here themselves, these beings, extraterrestrial and other dimensional, will create hybrid beings who are mostly human to live here full time and do their wonderful work that the beings would like to see done. So I think really it's a wonderful system. I think that most people don't even know about this. And that's one reason why Sheila and I have written this book, Cosmic Convergence, is to let more people know about these wonderful beings who are here. So you see, we have three wonderful kinds of beings which are here helping us. We have the walk-ins, like Sheila, and we have these star seeds, and we have the hybrids. Mm-hmm. And in every case, people who would see them or know them just assume that they're regular people. The ones I know in each case, I think, are very likable people and attractive people, so that people would tend to want to get to know them, which is a really good thing because then they can do their work more effectively. Mm. So I hope that that sort of sums it up pretty well.
Very, very helpful. And there are about a dozen questions that have come in. We are going to get to those questions. But I want to introduce our other guests tonight so we can balance it out. But oh my God, thank you so much. And many of the people in our audience, at least in our Zoom room, are saying, I'm a starseed or I'm a walk-in. Our beloved brother, Jerry, who you just seen with the big tree behind him, talks about how he walked in when he was 7 years old and had to be reintroduced to his parents. So right. You're definitely speaking to a nice cross section. Some people that are very familiar with this, and some people this is news. So it's wonderful to have both of you with us. And we will be back with Barbara and Sheila. But I also want to bring up our other friends, Gail and Gregory Hogue. And those of you who have been watching The Awakening World, and before that, Saturday Night Alive, the Global Peace Tribe, notice I'm always wearing this. Always, it never comes off. And it came from Gail and Gregory. It's a beautiful pendant. And it was, we're going to hear all about what they create because they really are, as I said in the beginning of the show, they are the world's foremost authorities on sacred geometry. So, welcome back. It's great to have you two with us. Let's just start right off. What is sacred geometry?
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Scott.
It's
It's wonderful to be here.
it sure is. And it's also been fun to watch some of the comments in the chat where people have been touched by understanding and some kind of an experience with sacred geometry since they were young, or taught it in school, in their math classes. It's an essential part of understanding our universe. And just like we were just talking about before, our universe is so much more than what we're told that it is. And recently, Greg and I wrote a book called Sacred Geometry, the Universal Language of Divine Alignment. And what that really is showing us is that there are very specific patterns and rhythms and cycles and ways that universe creates itself. This wonderful energy that's just pure energy, our soul, comes into this dimension, and it needs this fabric in order to play in the physical world. And this fabric is really, it's created through sacred geometry. And it's quite an amazing system that enables us to keep reproducing over and over again certain ways that everything works. And yet it's always just a little bit different. And so it's all about resonance. It's all about being able to understand our relationship to the divine, to the multi-dimensions of who we really are. And sacred geometry is a doorway to us being able to touch back in to those multi-dimensional aspects of our beingness.
In our book, we dive into numbers and how they relate to physical reality. And then we see the way these numbers come together and create patterns again and again that are brought down through ancient history. When we look at what the Egyptians were doing, we look at what was happening in Central America, in China, in ancient India, and they all work with particular patterns and rhythms and cycles. And we were fortunate to be able to tune into the higher dimensional realities. And a lot of that happened for me because I went through a lot of Kundalini in the late 70s. In 1980, it opened me up to being able to see these patterns that exist prior to physical manifestation. And so when Gail and I met, she was able to tune in to these higher realms as well. And we started building geometries. And that is one of the things that led to what you're wearing, Scott. But we started building geometries in the 3D physical reality that we inhabit that are resonant. That is, they actually vibrate with the archetypical principles of creation. Because no matter where you go in the universe, there are the same patterns and rhythms and cycles that would allow us to communicate with someone in another part of this reality, or even on higher dimensional realities. These particular patterns carry through into fourth, fifth, sixth, higher dimensional realms. And so by working with the geometry, some that are similar to what's sitting next to me and what you're wearing. Let me see if I can bring that up. Let's see. There. So this is two sides of a pendant that is similar to what you're wearing, Scott. We have two sides because one side moves the energy down and the other side moves the energy up. And inside are so many different antenna systems that resonate with universal principles that it helps connect us to those same frequencies and into those same realms. So bottom line, that's why we've been doing this for 40 years now, is to create tools that will support people in connecting to their higher self, connecting to their soul, bringing through that flow of energy that allows them to experience a bigger view of reality, that allows them to be more synchronous with everything that's going on around them. So this is what we've been playing with for 40 years, since Gail and I met in 1985.
Some of our audience members are saying, I recognize them from Whole Life Expos, New Life Expos
Mhm.
that you've traveled to and been at. So some of your friends from the past are remembering you and appreciating you.
Yeah, and I saw somebody was asking for our website,
I
which
just put it
is
in.
iconnecttoall.com. And then you can go in there, you can see all kinds of things that we've been creating over the years, lots of videos, lots of information. It's interesting, as much as all that we do is about sacred geometry, at the foundation of it is the exploration of consciousness, how this is a really important tool to support us in our evolving consciousness. So for me, sacred geometry has been amazing because the ability to be here and bring the energy of higher consciousness into this dimension is what I feel like this incarnation is really about.
Rihanna Skywalker is writing, totally resonating with Greg and Gail. I'll bring her on. Here's your totally resonant partner coming to us from Sedona, Arizona.
Yeah.
Beautiful mountains behind you.
Ayada writes, I wonder if Gail and Greg would be able to say something about the use or application of star tetrahedrons. I've been receiving guidance about using them for many years and did construct a small one, but wasn't sure how to work with it. Is that something you could speak to?
Sure. I'm going to let it focus on you while
he goes off and does something else. Okay.
I
and
just want to
One
grab
of the
it.
things he's going to show you is that there's something really important in the geometry of the star tetrahedron, and that is that it is the way that light is formed. So it is an essential part of how creation works.
Okay. So, there's so much with the star tetrahedron. The tetrahedron, let me grab just that. There are many things to explore with the very first Platonic solid. The very first geometry we have is a tetrahedron, and it's really very the energy is always flowing from the face to the point. So this is an energy that's very strong in one direction. So it's imbalanced, if you will. It isn't until there is another tetrahedron that is pointing down, which happens in our book. We talk about how this geometry starts to balance and form to create the star tetrahedron. And then if you were to connect all the points together on the outside, you would have a cube. And if you were to connect all the center points together, you would have an octahedron, which I'll grab those two so that we know what we're talking about. So this is the octahedron at the center of the star tetrahedron and the cube that goes around the outside. When all of these are put together, it forms something called Metatron's cube. We are used to seeing it as a two-dimensional projection, Metatron's cube. But when all of these geometries are together in that one single geometry, it carries so much more energy. And when we work with these tools in three-dimensional reality, what happens is it starts to resonate with the higher dimensional principles that created it. So the star tetrahedron, and what Gail was referencing that we talk a great deal about in our book, is the fact that light itself has a geometry. And that is a couple of Polish scientists discovered that a photon, which is the carrier for all energy, has a geometry, and this is the geometry that reflects that reality. And if you add up the number of degrees on the surface, you have 4,320 degrees, which is a harmonic with the radius of the sun that created the photon. 432,000 miles is the radius of the sun. So going from degrees into miles, and then when you look at 432 squared, you actually come up with something that approximates the speed of light that Einstein was talking about, 186,600 and some miles per second. And that's just by working with these same numbers and this same geometry. And then we can go on and on about how this geometry works with energy and how the Egyptian pyramids, like the well-known pyramid at Giza, is based on certain ratios that again align it with this same number of degrees in the star tetrahedron. So Drunvalo Melchizedek, some of you may realize, worked with a meditation that was balancing the upper and the lower tetrahedrons together, working with it in both a male format and a female format, depending on which was up and which was down. And that was a lovely meditation that brought people into connection with the bigger part of themselves relating to the physical.
Thank you so much. It's a great introduction. I'm going to read a couple of comments, and then we're going to go to a little part of the program, different part, our prayer moment, and then we'll come back to Music with Omar Shah, and then back to our guests. But I want to read some of the comments that have come in. Rihanna writes, sacred geometry is light, light in form, just as we are. Each dimension evolves from a sacred geometry form. Each has a consciousness. It's fascinating. Thank you, Rihanna, for sharing that. It's always wonderful to have you with us. Terry Russo pointing out that 432 frequency is special and how that number comes up all the time in the universe. So maybe you may want to comment on that when we come back. And definitely, I am tracking all the different questions coming in, and we'll continue to go back there. But also, if you have more questions for Gail and Gregory, or for Sheila, or for Barbara, just put them in the chat box. I'm saving them, and we'll get back to them. So, recently we've started doing more prayer on the Global Peace Tribe shows. And I've had several of you say, Scott, I really love those prayer moments. Can we do that every week? So I'm going to give that a try. So I've actually put together some images of some of the people for us to pray for. Most of you know that I really like the prayer of maximum grace, a reminder that comes from Paramahansa Yogananda. My understanding was that he was suggesting that that's about the most powerful prayer we can ever do for anybody. It's just maximum grace, because truly miracles in our lives, wonderful things in our lives come from grace. So this is a new little way of doing it. And here are some people that we want to take a moment to remember and put into our hearts.
Yeah, thank you.
And Gail and Gregory, if you could mute. Here, I'll mute you guys. There you go. And of course, starting with our beloved friend, Piper Dellums. God bless Piper. I do hear from her on a regular basis, and she's still kind of going through some tough times. So maximum grace for beloved Piper. And next is our good friend, Patrick McCullum. I don't know why that photo's not showing up correctly. I guess I'll just keep it on the carousel like this. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, Patrick McCullum is in Colombia, where he believes he may have been poisoned by the oil company that he's there to out. He was then on an environmental project. He's been in a hospital in Colombia. They finally just flew him out, and he's actually close by in San Francisco now. And of course, we want to remember Dorina Joy, a photo with her father, a reminder that Dorina's father just passed away. And while she flew from her home in Ecuador to Bulgaria to be with, taking care of his body and all of that, her home in Ecuador burned down. So remembering Dorina Joy, lots of prayers for Dorina Joy. Andrew Kane has been hospitalized. Many of you know Andrew. He's certainly a beloved member of Global Peace Tribe, came to our LA retreat. We just did a show with Andrew for him about, I think, last month. And then just remembering Asheville. This is one of many photos of the extraordinary damage that's taken place. The entire towns that are gone, small mountain towns that are gone. And let's also remember the children, especially in Gaza, where so much is going on. So as we go into a moment of silence and prayer, I'm going to go to Gallery View. Let's remember our local community members that are suffering, as well as those around the world. So we pray from the gratitude of our lives. We are so blessed. We are so privileged to be in a safe country, to have shelter, to have homes, to have food, to have generally good health. And it's from that foundation of our gratitude that we compassionately send love out to those that we care about, that we know, and the nameless ones in places like Asheville, Gaza, Sudan, Ukraine, that we remember and send our love to. Maximum grace to all beings everywhere who are suffering.
Sometimes it feels so hard to move along, saying goodbye to yesterday. Take heart, my friends, there is a new song bringing us back to our homelands. When something troubles you, just call out my name. I am the one who loves you. Be still within. Hear what I say. Give me the chance to be with you. We are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. So when you're feeling down and on your own, take a look around. I am in everything. Give me your burden, walk into my arms. I will lift you up, I will hold you. We are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. We are the ones who hear the new voice calling us home to freedom. Fear not, my friends, there is a new place full of new joys and happiness. Yes, we are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union.
Thank you, Mashar. Let's go to gallery view briefly. Do some twinkling. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the prayer, Scott. That was so necessary tonight.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from people if people like doing the idea of doing this on a weekly basis with our show. It does seem like now is a time that we really need to increase our prayers, don't you think, Omashar?
It really is, because what we put into the collective feeds out into the collective. It might not seem to make an immediate effect, but it does on the inside, and that is how we are changing. We are an inside job, and we are already established and growing. And so I think it's very, very wonderful that one of our audience members, one of our participants, suggested this to you last week, and that you've enacted it today. It felt really precious. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. Yeah, and I'd love to hear, I'll take a look at other comments that come in right now about this. I'm here to help design the show to be what all of you want it to be. So, all right, a few comments and questions that came in. George Noble pointed out that Shekinah Ma of the Twin Ray is a walk-in, whereas George is a starseed. And as he points out, as several are. As I said before, Jerry Anderson is a soul walk-in, came in at 7 years old, had to be reintroduced to his family, was also very sickly before the big soul of Jerry came in. Vivian Chavot, who's been on this show many times, is an Arcturian Earthborn hybrid. Few examples coming in. All right, here we go. Susan asks actually, so I'm going to bring back Sheila, and where are you hiding? There's Sheila, and where's Barbara? There we go. Thank you. So I'm going to go to some questions to you first. Susan asks, what is the percentage of human people who might be affected in these ways? In other words, who might be hybrids or star seeds? What percentage of the population do you think it might be?
I would say it's a lot higher than most people realize, because I have to say all souls come from somewhere. And we are, we either come in from the source souls, we come in from extraterrestrial souls, or we'll come in from interdimensional planes. But the souls are always circulating and coming back in, whether it's here or on another planet. So the truth of the matter is, I would say that we probably have 90% of the people that are from somewhere else, and about 10% who are the earth seeds. But even the earth seeds came from somewhere else, and they chose to come in as Gaia came in with her consciousness at the very beginning of the formation of this planet. Barbara, what do you think?
Well, that's a wonderful assessment. Yes, I think that so many more people are of these types of lineages without realizing it. And our world and our culture is so involving, so mesmerizing, and especially with television and the internet and cell phones and Instagram. I mean, we are constantly distracted by those things, very easily distracted. And so we forget the deeper questions very often. I find that I meet young people here and there. By young, I mean in their 20s and 30s. And many of them are just so involved in the next concert or the next big baseball game or football game or whatever. And that's where their attention goes. It doesn't go to areas like this. And yet there are many young people who are amazingly pondering of these very aspects. And to me is very encouraging. But I think there's a point to all of it. I think that some souls are really here to just completely be in physical life on the earth and all that goes on in it. And that's their purpose in this lifetime, is to just be here, experience what it's like to be a soul living in a human body on Earth.
Right.
And that's certainly okay. That's a part of the bigger picture. And there are more and more people, I think, who are kind of reaching out beyond those confines. And even though they are a human living in a human body here on Earth in a very busy culture, that they are, like all the people listening to this program, for instance, beginning to sort of, reach out and consider so much more.
Yeah, even I'll make this real quick. Even the indigenous peoples talk about coming from the stars.
Yeah.
All indigenous cultures talk about the star beings and the planetary systems that they come from.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of things I want to mention. First off, we can enjoy sports and also be in consciousness, Barbara. I'm a big baseball fan. And I got to tell you, I'm very excited because my Dodgers are in the World Series. So you can be a sports fan and into consciousness.
Yeah.
Just got to say that.
That's perfectly okay.
But, what I also want to say is I think a lot of the people that are attracted to the Conscious Awakening Network, to the Awakening World, to the work that you're all doing, I think are what I call earth angels that have come from higher dimensions into human bodies, because this is obviously an extraordinary time in human history where we're on this amazing tipping point of destroying ourselves in
Yeah.
a dozen or 20 different ways, or achieving the consciousness to manage our technology.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people are, that I observe are, and they start to remember, I always had a mission. Ever since I was a little kid, I always felt I was here to make a difference, right?
Mm.
So, Barbara, do you find that that's true with most of the people that you do hypnosis with and that you work with?
Yes, well, particularly those who are of what I would call a higher consciousness, who want to know more about why they are here. In the old days, that is in the 1980s and even the early 1990s, people were coming to me for regression work with a very relatively small focus. In other words, they wanted to know who they were in a past life.
Right.
Or some people would come and say, I want to know about my past life. And I'd say, well, you probably have had hundreds or thousands or millions of past lives. So let's begin to focus on what you more specifically would like to know about and where that came from. So those were in the 1980s and on into the 1990s, but more and more people have been coming to me to find out more about that larger picture. Like, are they connected with extraterrestrial beings? And are they really having experiences with those beings? And then some of those people and additional people are wondering, I wonder if I was someone else, some other type of being in the cosmos in previous lives. So that was a whole phase for a while. And more people were discovering that they had been part of an extraterrestrial species, civilization, planet in a previous or maybe several previous lifetimes. So it keeps open in terms of my personal work with people. It's been opening up more and more and more. And now it's much more about the whole existence, all of the whole cosmos,
Right.
our place in it. What role do we have? Why are we here on Earth in this lifetime, or maybe several lifetimes? And what are we here really to do, to give to the collective?
Hmm.
And I think that's a wonderful sign that more and more people are awakening to that and wondering about that.
Beautiful. I'm going to go to Gail and Gregory in a moment. We're going to try and balance out. We have 30 questions and comments that have come in. there have been, while I have the two of you, I'm going to ask you one more question, then we'll go to Gail and Gregory, and then we'll come back to you again. But there's been a lot of questions about genetics.
Mhm.
For example, George asks, don't each of us have 12 different ET genetics, our original makers? And of course, there's the whole thing about different strands and, the missing link. So what can either of you share about kind of the genetics that we all share, and maybe the genetics that are different between a star seed or a hybrid and what I think you called an earth seed?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I
You know,
think
oh,
we-
sorry, go ahead, Barbara.
Oh, sorry. I will give you a chance, Sheila. I think that probably the whole human race, as far as we know, has been hybridized way back, millennia ago, with some of the earlier humans and who were hybridized by some of the beings from space who came here, and so that probably every single person on the earth has some extraterrestrial genetics. And then, having said that, there are some who receive more genetics as a very deliberate thing chosen by the beings, and I think by the soul of the individual person as well. I think all of this involves soul agreements on the part of each individual person who either has encounters with the extraterrestrial and other dimensional beings while being here as a human on Earth, and also those who have received extraterrestrial genetics and are hybrids. And the same with the walk-ins or the starseeds. We all agree or make agreements, kind of like make a pact, make a promise before we incarnate into this life. And we make agreements and pacts about many different kinds of things. And one of those things is having extraterrestrial genetics or having encounters with those beings. Sheila, what do you want to get to that?
Well, I was just going to let people know first, in the book, Cosmic Convergence, I start out by describing the majesty of the universe and all the different forms that it takes, such as, dimensions and densities, the harmonic universe, timelines, parallel universes, omniverse, etc. Then when we go into the various sections, when it is talking about the hybrids, I do share a story that my collective shared with me about in the beginning of time when, when the earth was really new, there were many, many different species that were on this planet. Some came out of curiosity. Some people came because they were refugees from wars that were going on in their planetary system, and they did intermingle. There was also what was called a false matrix, and it takes too long to explain that, but there was a false matrix that was put into place. During that time, also, the Anunnaki came to this planet, and they were really seeking resources for their own planet. They were harvesting gold, etc. And they couldn't get all of the work done themselves. So they needed to have the extra hands. They began to use the hominid species that was on this planet at the time, and they began to splice their own genetics. And one of the things that happened as a result of that is free will began to be taken away. So there wasn't that natural evolution that was supposed to be occurring. There were many, many benevolent beings that came to the planet at that time, such as the Andromedans, the Arcturians. There were angelics that came to the planet. And they said, you can't take away the free will of a species. What are you doing? And so they also began to splice their DNA into the gene pool. And throughout time, we have had many, many species that have come to this planet. Now, when I say species, it's just for the conversation. I truly look at them as our galactic family because I believe that we truly are all connected. And because we are souls having these experiences, we have experienced and have visited and been part of most every planetary system that there is. And now, each and every one of you, I can promise you, if you are here on Earth at this time, the frequencies that you hold are necessary to assist Gaia in her transformation. And as each one of us spiritually evolve, as we awaken, as we're able to bring in and hold more light in ourselves, we not just affect us, but we affect the collective consciousness. And as that collective consciousness rises, the light quota rises on the planet. It assists Gaia and it assists humanity as well. So I dare say that the majority of everyone on this planet is a hybridized being of some sort. And where your soul comes from, who knows? You know, it could be a direct source soul coming straight in from source to have an experience. And as Scott was talking about a few moments ago, there are many, many higher beings that have come into human form right now to assist, to be way showers. And I know when I came in as a walk-in, I'm still connected to my collective. And so the collective and I are one. And before I embodied, we were already here on the crystalline grid and had merged our consciousness with other like consciousnesses. So when I came in, it was, well, when the soul of this body cried out, it was decided I would be the aspect to come in. So I'm kind of like boots on the ground. And I'm sure many of you are boots on the ground as well. But whatever and wherever you came from, whether you're a walk-in starseed hybrid, whether you don't know, it doesn't matter, because the thing that matters is right now, we are here assisting at this very pivotal time in Earth's history. So all of you are to be commended on coming and taking on this assignment.
Thank you so much. Beautifully stated. A quick question for you, Barbara, and then we're going to go to Gail and Gregory. Barbara, one of our wonderful regulars, Ellie, is asking, do you still do private sessions, and is it best to reach you through your website?
Yes, I do a lot of regression still. It's a great love of mine. And I do them in person in San Diego, California. And I also do many of them online, which is wonderful because then I can work with people anywhere in the world. And that is a great thing that we have those connecting links. So the best way to get to me is to go to my website, barbaralamregression.com. And boy, that was immediate.
Is that something? Presto changeo.
There is a portion there where you can communicate with me. It's like sending an email through the website. You can also order my books on the website. And anyway, I will get a message transferred to me, to my email, and then I will respond to that. But just go to the email. That's, I mean, the website. That's the easiest way to remember it.
Great. And what I did was when you go to Barbara Lamb, L-A-M-B, like the animal, regression.com, barbaralamregression.com.
Right. So what we see right now on the screen is not quite correct. But it is, I think that is referring to my YouTube channel, which has lots and lots of interesting.
Well, it says right here, what I'm looking at says contact Barbara. I clicked the contact Barbara link, and it says, please use this form to contact me to book a regression or arrange for an interview.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah, there we go.
Looked at it for a while myself. So that's good. And there may be a little bit of delay depending on how often I can get to my email, but I definitely will answer you. And then we communicate by text message. That's the most expedient way from my point of view. But just, yeah, do it through the website.
Okay, fantastic. All right, well, I'm going to bring Greg and Gail back up on camera. There you two are. And we've had several requests of people wanting to see more of your beautiful devices. If you can maybe take people through and show them. And I remember before you actually showed what was inside some of your pendants. Is that something you could show people?
I don't have that up as a slide right now,
Okay.
but I remember doing that with you, Scott.
Yeah.
I do have, when we were talking about Metatron's cube, that's what you see over here. Let me get in here. There, on the left, that's Metatron's cube, and we spin it on a special motor that we build that turns at a very precise speed, because the vortex that's created, depending on the speed, allows for an interphasing with time. And so we're always working with time in relationship to all the geometries, because time itself is geometric in nature and follows particular patterns. And that's why we have reoccurring cycles with the sun, with the earth over long periods of time. And on the right over here is something we call the 5G solution that's spinning. And I shared with you before the show started, recently, some people bought this for their home. Their mother fell in love with the way the energy felt and bought one too. But the interesting thing is they hung one up in their barn, and what happened was all the horses in the barn kept trying to squeeze under this one form because they so liked the energy.
Wow.
And I always love that when you're working with animals and children, they just automatically respond to energy. And especially young children and babies can work with the thought forms that come from their awareness just as they were born. They can see the thought forms and the fields around people. So I play with children that way.
Oh, great.
One of the stories I like to share about the 5G is that, let's see, it's been about 11 years ago. We had a huge flood here in Colorado where we live. It knocked out all of our electricity. We're in a rural area, so we didn't have cell phone service either. And so it was like, you know, when you're on one of those great camping trips way out in the middle of nowhere, and everything, the energy is so pristine. Well, we were living like that for several, what was it, about 4 or 5, 6 weeks. And then, of course, we had to kind of get back to to, you know, the world again. And so things were coming back. The electrical grid was working again. Well, that was memorable, that feeling of what it was like not to have that interference.
Oh,
When we first turned on that 5G solution, I went, oh my gosh, that's what it felt like when we didn't have that interference of the grid. It was amazing. Now you can't block the energy, the radiation of the grid. You can't take that and, you know, and eliminate it from your sphere. But all the things that we create are not about trying to block something, which is really, sort of a fear-based relationship, but instead how to create a more dynamic connection. And when that connection is really strong, then it doesn't matter what's going on around you. Your connection will be the dominant quality, the dominant resonance. And so that's really what a lot of these different structures do. They take us back to the essence of who we are, so we're not being tossed around by so many of these different energies that tend to create distraction for us. And so here Gregory is going to show you
Well,
show some other things too.
This is a very special scepter that we work with, a Dorji, that is working with moving energy. And all of these we work with to create healing environments, to create environments where people can connect, because in the end, it's what's being talked about tonight, that once we start experiencing these higher realms, it starts revealing to us what our purpose is, what we're doing here, and then we want to be of service. The main thing for all human beings is to be able to be of service to all, so that we can grow and we can start to find that connection that is leading us into our unity, leading us into that love that created us. And so that's the purpose for everything that we're doing and what's being talked about with star seeds and working with walk-ins. And it's all about that higher opportunity to express more and more love and more consciousness in our daily lives with each other. And it's a wonderful time to be alive right now because of all these opportunities.
And when we heal ourselves, we heal each other, because we are a unity. And what's really extraordinary about this time is that we're moving more strongly, more clearly into that flow for the good of all. So it's wonderful to remember to receive, allow, because when you receive, you are healing all around you. So always know that it's a different dynamic now than it might have been when we thought, oh, when we take something for ourselves, it's not about separation, it's about unity. And so we can heal each other through the process of healing ourselves.
That's a beautiful message. Thank you. And I want to remind everybody that they have a beautiful website. It's iconnect2all.com. The 2 is a number. So iconnect2all.com. And that's where you can learn all about their pendants that they make, all about sacred geometry, and of course, the book, which is what really, we wanted to focus on. But if you really want to know about sacred geometry, get the book. And it's easy to buy it. Just go to the website, click buy now, and it takes you to all the different ways you can get it. You can also get it on Kindle, and you can even get a signed paperback copy of it from them. So they're on Barnes and Noble, they're on Amazon, all the different ways that you can do this. Right there are 3 of our favorite luminary speakers, all giving beautiful testimonials: Carolyn Meese, Joe Vitale, and Deborah Poneman, all friends of ours. Now you have a Sacred Geometry book club. Tell us about that.
Well, what we're doing, Scott, is we're actually doing a book reading. And we're doing it twice a month, and we're reading, just right out of the book and going into some deeper explanations, answering questions. Sometimes when you hear something, it's different than when you're reading it yourself.
Yeah.
And so our goal is to bring this to light and help people understand that the depth of what sacred geometry brings us. And we go a lot into numbers. And so I think that doing the reading helps people understand more about what that really means, what that math is, that it's not just something that when we went to school and went to math class and went, oh, please, I can't wait till I'm done with this. But instead, it's connecting us to how universe creates life. And so it's, I think we bring a lot of excitement into understanding that again.
And the numbers have qualities. They aren't just quantities. So it's like 1 is the divine masculine and 2 is the divine feminine. And what are the archetypes of femininity and masculinity that are expressed through those numbers? And how do they co-join to create 3? And that's the divine masculine in the physical form, and 3 is the number that propagates everything in this reality. 3 is the most generative number of creation. It's a powerful, powerful number to understand. And then we can start seeing how these play aspects of little vignettes in our lives every day in the way we interact with our reality, and how we can find that it expresses itself in these patterns continually. And it's fun to see and experience.
Beautiful. Greg, Gail, thank you so much for being back on the show again.
Thank
It's
you.
wonderful to commune with you. And
Thank you.
people will be watching this. Of course, we've got about 100 broadcast partners that are watching it right now that it goes out to, but a lot of people watch the replay and the recording. And all of what you share is really evergreen knowledge. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you,
We
Scott.
appreciate all you do. You are a blessing.
Thank you so
Indeed.
much. Thank you. There's a few more things I want to do tonight. And one of those is I want to make sure that I brought Sheila back up, because she runs the Conscious Awakening Network, and we love the Conscious Awakening Network. We're a part of that. So Sheila, I'm going to bring your website up, and just please, for anybody who's not already a part of it, tell people a little bit about what you're doing with CAN.
Sure. So the Conscious Awakening Network actually is part of my mission to be a way shower. And when I first woke up and my collective said, "You're to be a way shower," I thought they meant I was to be a way shower. And I thought I had to do all of this stuff and be all of this stuff. And then they finally are like, no. You can open up, you can organize, you can bring people together. And as they started to show me, I was like, oh, thank goodness, because I don't like to be on an island. I like to play in the sandbox with other people. And so it's so much more fun when we do this together. And so I have pulled together a variety of luminaries and thought leaders and, beautiful spiritual people. And we've created the Conscious Awakening Network. And so we have videos on all types of topics. We dive deep into all kinds of work. We have people who give course information, etc. And in just a few days, when you go to our website, it will not look like this, because we have, every year I like to kind of change it up a little bit. So we have a brand new look, a brand new field. We're bringing on about 14 new providers, content providers, and we're super excited about that. And so we would love for you to check us out. We're on about 40 different platforms, including Roku and Amazon and Apple TV and Android TV. These are all free apps. You just go to your television store, download it. We have free phone apps that you can go and download, and that way you can always take us with you. So you can watch us on your phone. So we would love to have you to join us. And of course, we're on Roku, not Roku, but YouTube and, BitChute and all of the other types of platforms. So if you haven't already, please check us out.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sheila.
Thanks, Scott.
I'm going to bring up your wonderful partner. And Barbara, it's so good to see you again. I look forward to continuing to work with you for at least another 40 years.
Good. Okay.
Yay.
I'm up for that.
And thank you both for the wonderful work you're doing with Cosmic Convergence. And this is available at all the regular places that you can imagine. So it's a very important book. I want to take a moment while you're both with us to acknowledge Ariel from Sacred Stories. She is who recommended both of you to me, even though I know both of you. And so Ariel has got a very fun event happening near where I live in San Rafael. We're going to do a show to promote it, but this is the premiere for our Global Peace Tribe to know about what Ariel's going to be doing. So let's take a look briefly at this quick video. I want to make sure that I've got share sound. Yep, I got it right this time. Here we go.
I look forward to you joining me at the Expand Conference, where we're all going to expand our consciousness by being among kindred spirits and learning from some great authors how to connect with higher consciousness and learn all about spiritual topics that are near and dear to our soul.
This is an extraordinary opportunity for each one of you to learn how to communicate and connect with your angels and your spirit guides. And this incredible weekend, we're going to take a journey into the other worlds where we pull back the veils and really begin to open the doors of communication.
I and my colleagues will be joined in a panel talking about our books, and also each of us will offer a presentation and an exercise to partake.
I will be sharing all about the Akashic Records and how it can help you make new choices, release old patterns, and truly transform your life.
I'll be sharing how the mystical world of nature can open up profound experiences for you. It's going to be an incredible gathering, and I'm looking forward to connecting with like-hearted souls who are ready to expand their unity consciousness.
I'm so delighted to be inviting you to the Expand Conference held in San Rafael, February 1st, 2025. I'm going to be there and do opening and closing ceremonies representing the goddess, so please join us.
Yay.
Yay. So, yep, February 1st and 2nd, we get to be together in person. It's going to be in San Rafael. We're doing it at the same place where the Soul Search Enlightenment Expo takes place, where the New Living Expo takes place. So a lot of our Bay Area friends know about that. And, this show started 5 years ago during the pandemic when we needed to use Zoom to connect. But it is nice now and then to get together in person and actually hug each other, right?
Yeah.
Thank you again, Barbara and Sheila. So good to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful for us too. Thank you.
Absolutely. I've got some Global Peace Tribe announcements, and we're going to start with an announcement from our beloved brother, Omashar, who's got something special to share.
That would be me. And basically, tomorrow morning, I'm being interviewed by Abby Johnson from Humanity's Team, and they have their global Oneness Summit across this week. It started last Saturday and goes to this Friday. And so tomorrow at 10 Pacific time, you can go on called Harmonizing Spirit and Sound. My goodness, that was magic. I just thought it and it appeared. And I play 4 songs, and Abby just grills me on who I am, what I am, why I'm here, and all of that stuff. And I just basically answered 42. And so there we go. Worked that one out. And so anyway, that's my my Global Oneness Summit plug. They have an amazing bunch of presenters still happening on that platform, and you can still sign up for it. It's totally free. And all of our famous luminaries are on there, including myself now. So there we are, Scott. Thank you so much for that moment.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about upcoming events, I want to remind everybody of what Deborah Giusti is doing on Monday night. I'm going to certainly participate in that. This Monday night, October 28th. What the heck is going on with our world? Well, Deborah's got the answers. She and her friend Camille Moritz are going to be doing the State of the World and Planetary Ascension. It's free. Again, I'll put the link into the chat box where you can register. And for those of you watching on Facebook, just go to wishingwellproductions.podia.com and you'll be able to find it. wishingwellproductions.podia.com, and you'll be able to come in and participate. And also, I want to say, let people know about next week. We've got something very special happening. And to tell you all about it, I did a pre-record video with one of my favorite people on the planet, Eden Amadora, earlier today. And so to hear all about next Wednesday, which is just before All Hallows Eve, just before, and it's the time of Sacred Samhain, here's what Eden Amadora and I have got cooked up. Eden Amadora, and we've got something really special planned. Of course, we are approaching the time of Sacred Samhain, All Hallows Eve, and the Day of the Dead. And so right away, I thought I would love to have Eden co-host with me. She just got back from Egypt, and an amazing thing happened. About 5 or 6 weeks ago, I had a wonderful call with Elizabeth Wilcox, and she and I were talking about doing a show together, and she's very far along in her priestess work and her shamanic work, and I thought, I've got to connect her with Eden Amadora. They would be great doing a show together. And Elizabeth knew of Eden. She knew her work. And she said, well, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Okay. And I mentioned it to Eden, and I said, yeah, I'd be down. But I've got to go to Egypt now. We'll talk about when I get back. Well, while in Egypt.
Hi, Scott. So funny to hear popping in for a moment. While in Egypt, the first night that we gathered in our very beautiful, very small tour group to get oriented after the circle where we got oriented around what we were going to be up to, I walked out in this beautiful old palace in Cairo, and up the stairs walks Elizabeth Seraphine, aka previously Elizabeth Wilcox. And she had missed her flight. So she was the missing person that was late. And as I walked out and she walked up, we recognized each other right away and we embraced and laughed. And I said, wow, this is a destiny date. We were meant to connect and it happened sooner than later. And look where we get to play. And I'm excited to be back with her, even through Zoom, next Wednesday for the Samhain call on the Awakening World Wednesday night show, because Elizabeth, as we went through the temples in ancient Egypt, was very, very sensitive to and masterful at honoring the ancestors. And she made sure that everywhere we went, she would open with the prayers to the ancestors. Then she and I would dive into sacred sound and other ritual and beautiful ceremony with the people in our tour. And it felt like a destiny date because, I mean, we'll get into it more on the Wednesday night show and share a lot more with you about how magical Egypt was, what it is to walk the priestess path, and we'll deepen you with an ancestral journey that we can honor our ancestors and receive some of their messages from beyond the veil and wisdom to work with in this lifetime. When the veil is so thin, and it's a very special, very powerful portal that Samhain creates to do so. So I'm excited about that. And should I tell them about the other earlier?
Absolutely. Next Wednesday, October 30th, is going to be a very powerful day. So I am going to participate. I encourage everybody to participate in both events, of course, in the Evening Awakening World, but earlier in the day, Eden has something very special.
Yeah, so I have a live spiritual masterclass that I hold like a ceremony. It's a ceremonial temple space, even virtually from all over the world. You can join. You can join me live. And if you sign up, you can also catch it later while the portal is open. You can participate in ritual, ceremony, honoring the elements, being witnessed, sharing what's coming up for you, and deepening with this very sacred time of year. And there's a bit of mind food to learn more about Samhain and how our ancestors celebrated it, and then to have a direct experience for yourself of celebrating it. And for everyone that comes live, I'm going to be giving away a really special free gift that will make this time of year even more meaningful for you and juicy and give you lots of great ideas. So I'm excited about both the daytime Samhain ritual, the free live masterclass dash ceremony, and the Awakening World show later in the evening. It's going to be such a great day, Scott. I'm excited.
I would love to ask our Zoom room audience, pop in the chat box, because many of you have experienced Eden's events that she does. They're really powerful. She is so generous with her gifts. So you guys, I know a lot of you do them. Pop in the chat box what you've experienced, and I'll read some of those. And for those of you that are not on Zoom, but that are watching us on Facebook or YouTube, welcome again. And go to EdenAmadora.com, EdenAmadora.com, live-spiritual-masterclass-new. I'm going to say that again, EdenAmadora.com, her name, and that's where you'll find all the amazing things she's up to. But then /live-spirit, where you can learn all about it. She's got a wonderful video that goes into a little bit more detail. And this is a free program she's created. This is free for all of us. And so just click claim your seat in the circle, and that'll take you to where you can register. Again, register for free. And Eden, you're doing this along with, I think, who's trained with you.
Yeah, she is a beautiful guide and my apprentice vocalizer, and she's especially passionate about connecting with the ancestors. This is right up her alley and her forte. She's going to be guiding a little meditation around that during this call. So join us.
All right, so it's Wednesday, October 30th, 12 noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern. You know, connecting to the ancestors is so powerful. One of my favorite things to do is to perform wedding ceremonies. And I've done about 20 now. And I always encourage, let's call in the ancestors. And there's this one wedding ceremony I was doing, it was outdoors. And at the time, and they asked me to call in the ancestors. And just as I called in the ancestors, there was this huge gust of wind. And if you watch the video, you could hear the whole audience go, like gasp, because we could feel the energy. It's real. We do have, I think it's some ancestors that stay connected to us in whatever way they do. You know, it's beyond our ability to really imagine it, but it's real. Our connection to our ancestors is powerful and real. And this is the time of year where, like you said, the veils are thin. And so Eden is going to really show you and teach us all tools of how we can utilize this powerful time to connect to our beloved ancestors.
Right. And tap into the wisdom, the love, and the guidance they have for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Eden, I cannot wait until next Wednesday, both your afternoon program and our evening program. And thank you for just being so generous. And we're going to learn all about Egypt. She shared a little bit with me already, but we're going to maybe see some photographs, maybe see a little video, and learn all about, she just got back from this amazing trip to Egypt. So we're all going to vicariously travel to Egypt, travel into ancestral realms, and much more next Wednesday, both in the afternoon and evening with Eden Amadora.
I'm so looking forward to it, and I can't wait to be with everyone. It's going to be awesome. Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure. See you soon. So there you have it. And again, it's going to be Eden and Elizabeth Seraphine, formerly Elizabeth Wilcox. There's a photo of the two of them in Egypt taken like 2 weeks ago. So really totally magical that I had already imagined them doing a show together, and there they run into each other in Egypt on the same tour. Pretty amazing. So next Wednesday is, like Eden said, A Date with Destiny. All right, a lot of wonderful things happening. And as always, we're going to conclude our show with our beloved brother, Omar Shar.
And yes, indeed, that was beautiful sharing with Eden. And it was very interesting talking about ancestors. When I was in Japan a couple of weeks ago, and I was in the presence of Mount Fuji, my grandparents came to me as if they were sitting right next to me. They came right into my face and started talking to me about how they had laid out some of my pathway in this life, and how I was just continuing them through my life, and on and on and on. There's more to this story, but it was so strong, it was so palpable. It was like my grandfather and my grandmother were sitting right in front of me talking to me. It was just how it was. So anyway, without further ado, let's dance to this little number. And when you think that all is lost, and the curtain looks to fall, perhaps it's just the song of life that calls, and you trust in life exposed. Sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Trust in your life and you will see that you reflect as me. Another day is here for you to live, and I'll walk it through with you. There is no doubt your heart is pure and true. So I came to remind you. No need to sit around and mope. Where there is love, there's always hope. Life and you will see that you reflect as me. I am in all that you will see. Have trust in your life and trust in me. Dust yourself down and I'll lift you up. I will fill your loving cup. Just when you thought that all was lost, I came to remind you. No need to sit around and mope. Where there is
Wow.
All of us.
Let's all twinkle, beloved Omashar. Heidi, you were rocking it there. Great to see
Everyone was rocking it. I'm so grateful for our guests tonight, Gail and Gregory and Barbara and Sheila. What a soup tonight. How about that?
Absolutely. And I didn't mention what we've got coming on this Saturday night. I don't have the poster ready because we're still adding guests, but we are going to be showing highlights from the Global Disclosure Day that took place last Saturday. Whitley Strieber is going to be with us live. The Whitley Strieber, the author of the book Communion, one of the most important books in the whole UFO ET movement, is going to be with us. My good friend Alan Steinfeld will be co-hosting with me, and we're lining up other guests to join us. So Saturday night will be another kind of focusing on Global Disclosure Night. So what an amazing time it is, and it's just so grateful. I'm going to bring the Colorado contingency, because it turns out that a lot of our guests, Sheila and Gail and Greg and Omashar, where are you, Omashar? Are all in Colorado. So we've got Colorado well represented.
It's the Rocky Mountain thing, right, guys?
Yeah, it
There's such power here. And it took me a long time to get used to suburbia, but I go to the mountains when I want to get out of 5G and all of the frequencies, go as high as I can and just hang with a bunch of rocks. And they've become my best friends.
Well, we're at 10,200 feet, so you can come hang up here.
Are you serious? Because what I've noticed is when I used to live in Mount Shasta, and every time I got like in a mental funk, when I drove above 7,000 feet, that's when it all became, I suddenly felt myself again. And by the time I was at 10,000 feet, I was cosmically connected again. And so what I've noticed with 5G in this neighborhood is that it numbs you down, numbs the outer form, and then you get addicted to it. And so that it feels cozy in a highness sort of a way. Anyway, I'll shut up now. There it is.
I also want to thank all the people that wrote in the chat box that I didn't get a chance to read. A lot of you wrote about your amazing experiences working with Eden Amadora. She is such a gem. So make sure you participate in her program next Wednesday afternoon. And yes, it's going to be on the 30th. I mean, I'm also appreciating all that people are commenting on about their hybrid experiences. And so, yeah. Heidi, you can find the details. Just go to EdenAmadora.com, EdenAmadora.com, and you can see where you can register for free for her program next Wednesday, October 30th at 12 noon, and then come be on the Awakening World in the evening.
Amadoro, Amodoro.
Eden, Amadora, EdenAmadora.com. And I'll put that in the, I'll put it in the chat box for everybody right now real quickly. And she does a wonderful job with everything she does. She does everything with class. Actually, she and I had dinner together last night. We had a lovely sushi dinner. She's a gem. She's an absolute gem. I'll read one thing that Dia Therese wrote about her. Dia wrote, Eden creates a wonderful world to explore in each of her 13-week sessions of the Moon Goddess program, which I guess Dia is a part of. Such depth in exploration and beauty. I love you, Eden. Namaste. So thank you for putting that in there, Dia. And thank you to everybody else who wrote wonderful things about Eden or about their parents or about Barbara or Sheila or Greg or Gregory or Omashar. We appreciate all of your wonderful comments. The chat, I was not able to keep up with the chat box tonight. There was a lot going on, which I love. I love when that happens. All right. Take care, everybody. Look up to the skies. Oh, and John Martin will be with us on Saturday night. We all love John. He'll be playing music and showing some of his videos. So see you on Saturday night. God's blessings. Have a wonderful few days.